Tomorrow, a brand new Shadow game is going to be released. If you are a fan of Sonic, you know how huge this is. I mean, originally we were only expecting a few levels with some credits, but no, this is an entirely new game, a brand new Shadow game. And you know what? I want to take a moment to capture this world, the calm before the shadow storm, if you will. Why? Well, things are going to permanently change tomorrow. If you went back in time, say even 3 years, and told me that Sonic Team would make a new Shadow game where the Black Arms return and tie it in with Sonic Generations no less, I would never believe that, dude. But here we are, and you better believe I'm ready for this game. I have the digital deluxe downloaded on my PS5, waiting for that glorious release. I got some snacks lined up, capture card on deck, going to make some content. I have never been more ready for this. Before anyone points it out, yes, I know the Switch ROM has leaked, and yes, I know people have been playing it, but my take on that is, I want nothing to do with it. Spreading leaks does nothing but damage towards the people who worked really hard to give us this game, so I am personally doing right by them by not downloading the Switch ROM. I know how, but I won't. I have too much respect for Sonic Team, Ian Flynn, and the rest of the guys for that. But I have heard the game is amazing, even coming from people who aren't fans of the Boost games or fans of Frontiers, which is amazing. I want to start this off by saying this is Shadow's big chance. Originally, we thought the Year of Shadow was nothing more than marketing fluff, but they weren't kidding. All kinds of memorabilia, toys, animes, comics, the movie, and a new game with everything in between. Are we in the good timeline? I mean, I can't be the only one who thinks this way. When Shadow Generations was first revealed, they advertised it as a Sonic Generations remaster with some side Shadow content, but now it's almost the opposite. Iizuka said that the Shadow part wouldn't have as much content as Generations, but he was kinda full of shit. He knew. He totally knew. Instead of blank 2D hub world, we get an open zone hub, plus more levels in the original Generations, plus a bunch of challenges and bosses. Oh wow! Shadow was always popular, but with Shadow Generations, Dark Beginnings, and Sonic Movie 3, I mean, guys, it's not crazy to assume that Shadow might get his own side series of games after this. More people than ever are wearing Shadow shirts, buying the toys. Keanu Stickin' Reeves is voicing Shadow for Pete's sake. It's also important to mention that this is the first Sonic-related game to come out since Mania that has had almost but nothing largely positive things being said about it, which is surreal. The fact we are all hyped about a Shadow game is simply wonderful, but the question I want to answer is, how did we get here? Things were so different, say, 3 years ago? I feel like it's really important to give a little history of everything leading up to this point. Shadow is always the second most popular character in the Sonic franchise. That's been the case since 2001, but after a while they shelved him. Without a major role in the games for years, his last main role was in Sonic 06. Yeah, let that sink in. Sure, he had episode Shadow and Forces, but that was only 3 small levels, and he was hardly in the main campaign. Barely any Shadow action for 18 years. Think about that. I don't want to turn this into an old head bad video, but those guys were a huge part in why Shadow was shafted. Edgy the Hedgy was what most people called him. The entire joke was that Shadow is just the edgy Vegeta character, nothing more. No doubt to the evil endings of Shadow of 5, but those were supposed to represent what Shadow could become. Shadow is hardly edgy. He's a hero. He does what's right to protect Earth. I also think it's really funny because Shadow of 5 was only created through the demand from Sonic fans. If you noticed, a lot of old heads said, who wanted this? But Sega literally received letters on how people wanted a Shadow game. It was clear that the old heads only had their voices heard because they were old enough and had the means to do so. A lot of us didn't get to voice our opinions until later. We never even got the chance. Back then, internet gaming discussion was a lot more toxic than it is today, if you can even believe that. A lot meaner and more cruel. This era of criticism did not mix well with Sega's mindset. Sega throughout the entire history had a throw something out immediately mentality. The worst kind of overcorrection. It's what killed their console market, and it was almost the same for Sonic. The moment anything gets bad press, Sega instantly dumps it and does something completely different. Sonic 06 being poorly received, drop the formula for something entirely new. Forces poorly received, drop the formula for something entirely new. I can't say for certain, but I truly believe this was the case for Shadow as a character. He was only in 06 because those two games were being developed around the same time. The moment 06 came out, instead of ironing out the kinks and giving Shadow another chance, they ditched him in fear of even more backlash, despite selling well. The fact Shadow remained a fan-favorite character all this time despite hardly appearing in the series for 10 years is a testament to the character. I don't know if I can truly forgive the internet for treating the character this way, more so being a kid during the time. The only thing I could do is just hope he would appear in the next one. But as the years went on, more of us started to clamor for Shadow to come back, and here we are. It feels good. It took some years, long years, but we're here. As the years passed, SA2 became my all-time favorite video game, and Shadow one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. His tragic backstory and development is something I will hold special in my heart for the rest of time. The fact we are getting a new game where Shadow is going to interact with Maria again, man, I can already feel the tears. And as for the Black Arms, I've never been the biggest fan of Doom in the DNA thing. Not that I don't like Black Doom, I just prefer Shadow being created by humanity. But I'll be completely ignorant if I didn't say Black Doom added some great themes and stories. I just prefer SA2's way of handling it. With that said, I'm open to Black Doom being the Eggman for Shadow. I want this game to make me an even bigger fan of the character. A lot of Christian mythology is here, and I think that's pretty neat. Don't get me started on the open zone. As someone who really enjoyed Frontier's gameplay, I am so happy that we're getting another open zone so fast. The best part is that we hardly seen any footage of it. I can't wait to dive right in. I've heard around the block that it's really good and improves on Frontiers, which is so hype. The Sonic series as a whole has grown so much over the last few years. We went from nothing for 5 years to so much content in the span of just 3. Frontiers, Superstars, and now Shadow Generations back to back. There are some growing pains, of course, but seeing the franchise flourish and making Sega the big bucks again has been so awesome to see. As a lifelong diehard fan of the series, even me, my YouTube channel over the last year is starting to take off. I mean, I still have a long way to go, but man, the amount of love and support I've been getting off the videos this year has been amazing. I went from videos getting maybe 100 views if I'm lucky, to videos getting over 10k consistently with a bunch of great comments and new friends. Sonic and Shadow has done nothing but good in my life, and I can't think of enough. The passion we all have for this series is amazing, and I can't wait to see where it goes in the future. The Sonic world may never be the same starting tomorrow, but you know what? I think that's for the best. This is the first Sonic-related game to release with mostly positive discussion around it. That's a big leap forward for the franchise. The franchise is soaring to new heights only Kid Me could imagine. This is truly the fearless year of Shadow. I hope everyone enjoys Sonic X Shadow Generations. Expect a lot of new content coming out in the next few weeks. I have my work cut out for me. See you all then. The calm is almost over, and the storm of Shadow is about to begin. Stubbornness has always been our saving grace.